Do you want to sit here, Nate?
Okay, this is for Jordan Gawronski's speech. It's his mom, Ann, brother-in-law, Nate, and Jordan. So, go ahead.
Alright, diamonds are precious stones that are seen as symbols of power, wealth, and love. But the harsher is that some diamonds carry a high price tag in human suffering and pain. Conflict diamonds are diamonds that originate from areas controlled by forces opposed to legitimate and internationally recognized governments, and are used to purchase weapons, finance wars, and further the cause of terrorism around the world. The National Geographic documentary Diamonds.MOV clearly shows how the mining and sale of conflict diamonds in some African countries has caused pain and suffering to hundreds of thousands of men, women, and children who have been forced to abandon their homes and land, and have been enslaved and terrorized, and have been mutilated and killed by rebel forces. The purchase of diamonds requires careful consideration by the consumer, not only because of humanitarian issues, but because of the security of millions of people around the world threatened by terrorism. The purpose of the speech, I will share a bit of history of Sierra Leone, a diamond-rich nation located in Africa. On April 27, 1961, Sierra Leone became independent of British control. The new government was faced with many problems, including the illicit diamond trade. Greg Campbell, author of Blood Diamond, states that the Revolutionary United Front was formed in opposition to the corrupt government. A crumbling economy, unemployment, and turmoil within the government brought a wave of death and destruction through Sierra Leone that lasted 11 years. The RUF had no support from the people and roamed the country, causing death and destruction and forcing natives into slavery to mine diamonds to support their activities. They were ruthless in their tactics, often mutilating, raping, and killing innocent men, women, and children to get the cooperation of people. Many fled their homes to escape the brutality all around them. According to Douglas Farah, author of Merchant of Death, children were often taken from their families and forced to be soldiers. They were kept in line with drugs and fear tactics, and often the only escape was death. Campbell states that throughout the war, merchants bought stones from the Revolutionary United Front. Everyone from legitimate businessmen to agents of terrorist groups were eager to buy the diamonds from the RUF, and they had no regard for the suffering of innocent people of Sierra Leone. In 1998, when the horrors of what was happening became known not only in Sierra Leone but in other diamond-rich countries of Africa, the United Nations Security Council stepped in with sanctions and resolutions designed to stop the flow of conflict diamonds into legal markets. While the diamond trade is a very profitable business throughout the world, the human factor is not included in the profit. A particularly disturbing aspect of the conflict diamond trade is its ties to terrorism around the world. Terrorist groups have invested in diamonds since the early 1980s. They need money to buy and keep support, pay for arms, recruitment, training, and travel, build a propaganda base, and at times pay for a safe haven. In the article, Illegal Trading in Diamonds, Gems, Precious Metals, Daniel Mayberry includes these facts about the Al-Qaeda organization. The group became involved in the mid-1990s, and in 1998, after the United States froze $220 million in gold that the Taliban stored in the Federal Reserve System, the group began to liquidate its wealth and store it in commodities. According to the United Nations, between 30 and 300 million was invested in precious metals and stones. For 10 months prior to the September 11th attacks on New York City and the Pentagon, Al-Qaeda monopolized the diamond trade in order to protect its wealth. According to Mayberry, the goal of the terrorist organization is not to become rich, but to destroy and to kill, to make their message heard, and their victims are usually innocent civilians. The same holds true for the people of down-rich African countries who are innocent victims of their government, militant groups, and even people who buy diamonds not knowing or caring who or how many people have been hurt, mutilated, killed for tiny stones that lay on the ground. Conflict diamonds have been a source of much pain and suffering in the diamond-rich countries of Africa. While consumers enjoy their beauty and the status that beautiful diamonds gives, little thought has been given to what has been done and is still being done to acquire these precious stones. Governments must do their part by supporting the cumulative process certification scheme. They must also see the percentage of the money earned from the sale of rough diamonds is returned back to the mining communities to help improve the lives of the people who live in poverty. The diamond industry must clean up its act and be more accountable, more open, more honest in their dealings with importers and exporters of rough diamonds. Watch groups such as Global Witness are trying to increase the public's awareness and educate the consumer to be better informed about their diamond purchases. Consumers must ask questions of retailers and insist on written policies concerning conflict diamonds. They must also make donations to help communities hurt by years of civil war. Carson Glover, a spokesman for the World Diamond Council, argues that less than 1% of diamonds are conflict in nature, but it's easy to see that that number is likely to be much higher because diamonds are concealed, transported, and marketed illegally. Clearly, everyone from lowly diggers to diamond consumers to CEOs of large corporations to governments who import and export diamonds must do their part to make sure that there is never a war fueled by conflict diamonds and that the threat of global terrorism is stopped.
Okay.